Hey there, are you ready for our next riveting experience? Well, buckle up. The fun and excitement is about to begin.
Hi folks, welcome back to the garage. Today we're going to put together a new transom for the back of the Kayak. My goal here is to be able to take a really old Minn Kota motor that I had. It's probably 20 years old, and I want to be able to take it on and off of the Kayak, and I have a canoe here in the ceiling. I want to be able to use that with my canoe as well. So I don't really want to be doing any major customizations to that particular motor. I may at some point buy a high-end motor for the Kayak. We'll see. I got into kayaking to get the exercise, and so the motor seems to be kind of an antithesis to that. So probably not going to be customizing this motor. I want to be able to just take it on and take it off and use it on multiple boats. So it's got to remain relatively stock so it works everywhere. Okay, so let's get to it. I'll show you what I did and how it works.
Okay, I have a plastic piece on the back of the Kayak that I sort of used as a template. I measured it, looked at the hole pattern. I know that what I need is approximately 6 inches for the base of the transom. And really all I want for my transom is just a piece sticking up from the back of the Kayak that I can clamp a boat motor to. So that should be pretty simple to make. What I'm thinking is the aluminum's lightweight, it's strong, it doesn't oxidize, so that seems to be the right material for the job. So I'm just looking for a piece of L angle that I can have bolted onto the back that I can clamp to. And I think the riser portion doesn't need to be that tall. Let's go with 4 inches. Maybe 3.5 would be better, but let's go with 4. And for the base, we've already measured that. We know the 6 inches is good. Thickness 1/4 inch is plenty strong enough. That's perfect. That's exactly what I want, except for I didn't want to pay $64 for it. Well, let's see what else we got here. Okay, I can make it 6 inches because 6 by 6 is a perfect base. And let's calculate that. 43.5. Still a little bit pricey for what I want to spend, but I buy a lot from Online Metal, so they've sent me a 50% off code that I'm going to use right here. So I will add that to the cart, and I'll use that code, and I'll have a transom then for about $25, and I'll pick it up. So no shipping. It'll be free because we have a warehouse right here in Seattle. So that's perfect. We'll go ahead and do that. There's Online Metals in downtown Seattle. There it is. I need to drill 4 holes in it, and I should be able to clamp on any trolling motor. Okay, first things first, I'm going to remove this plate because I want to be able to set the transom on there and be able to measure the holes and make sure everything's lining up perfectly and that the bolts will fit through there and be perfectly aligned. And don't ask me why I didn't use the black plate to use as a template, but I didn't. I decided I would measure it. And even at speed 600, the amount of times I double, triple check this thing is ridiculous. And I'm not gonna make you sit through that. I'm gonna clip that short. So, yep, there we have it all mounted, and now we got to drill the holes out. And first things first, I'm going to take a punch and make sure I punch down a nice, clean spot for the drill to get started on. It's the best way to keep your drill from migrating around when you're starting your drilling your holes. And it helps if your drill bit isn't dull, which all of mine seem to be. These all look like they went in there perfectly, so I was really quite happy with that. It would have been nice if I'd have marked the backside of this to drill it, so I didn't have to drill from the front and have the chuck rubbing against the back that was the part that was the transom. But you know, that's what I did. That's how I did it. So we're moving forward. Okay, 4 holes drilled. Clean them up a little bit, file off the backs. Yep, okay, beautiful. Got the right bolts. Let's go bolt it onto the back. We'll be all done, simple. And I don't know if you'll notice, but that piece of plastic has got a bend in it that I heat bent it a little bit so that it would wrap on the surface of the back of the kayak. It's not flat at all, so it'd be nice if it were bent. And so at this point I'm going to try to bolt this onto the back, and as I'm doing this, it's becoming more and more clear that the hour and a half I spent measuring was wasted. It's all screwed up. I don't know what I was looking at. I don't know what I was thinking. Geriatric moment. So watch how I solve this problem. I'd like to say that slotting the screws made it more adjustable and easier to have it to fit multiple scenarios, but the truth of the matter is the holes are just in the wrong spot. Oh man. So yeah, don't feel bad if you drill your 4 holes and they don't line up, because I couldn't do it. I do get them egg shaped out here enough so that it will fit on the transom eventually. And this is the spot where I realized that it wasn't bent like that piece of plastic was, and so I wanted to bend it. And I thought, I'll just put it in the vise here and hammer on a little bit. No, that didn't work. And pull on it, Pat. That didn't work. Hammer on it. Yeah, that'll work. Nope. Put it back in the clamp and try to really ream on it. No, that ain't gonna work. You can see the that's it. Hit it with a hammer. Maybe that'll help. I get really frustrated here, and I finally just decide to hell with it. I'll shim it up. I can't bend it. So yep, washers it is. So put some washers under it, and we mount her all back on there. And I couldn't keep my threaded plate that was underneath there high enough up for the screws to grab it, so I had to stick some cardboard under it. And then I put a couple of washers under each side, and that kept it nice and level, and we got her mounted up. Once I got it mounted, put the motor on there, and I noticed almost instantly that it stood higher on the transom than it needed to, but I'll adjust that a little bit later, and you'll see how I messed that up too. Right now I'm figuring out how can I adjust the throttle comfortably from my seat. And I saw somebody else online do this, so this isn't my idea. I stole this from somebody. It was a long time ago. I don't know who it was. I apologize if you were the inventor of the hose throttle, but this is just some garden hose, and I just wanted to make sure that the garden hose I had was going to be stiff enough, and yet it seems to work pretty well. So I'm just going to mount it there next to the seat, and I can adjust the throttle back and forth. Look like it's going to work good. So then the next thing I did was take 2 or 3 layers of PVC pipe, and I fed one inside the other with a little bit of glue and heat, and that flexed it out, and it looked pretty good when I got it all said and done, and it basically snaps right onto the handle, so I can take it on and off as needed. And then I just screwed it onto the end of the hose here, and it's solid. And there we go. Now on the other end, I need some sort of handle to put on the other end to keep the hose from running around and maybe have a little bit more leverage. So I took a disc of expanded PVC board, and then I glued in a piece of 1/2 inch PVC pipe, and that will fit right inside the hose. It was perfect size. Then I needed a bracket to hold it in place, and so I found a piece of aluminum L channel I had laying in a box, and I said, oh, that'll be perfect. It had 4 holes drilled in it already. I just needed to drill round the edges off here just so it's nice and smooth, and then I need to drill a nice big hole for the PVC pipe to fit through. And again, here's one of my dull drill bits. And you can see that I struggle a little bit to get that drilled through. If you're using a bit this big, you should step it anyway. And I had some stepper bits. I was just too lazy to go get them out of the box. So I just used this drill bit and beaver chewed my way through it. And yep, fits through there perfectly. And we'll file it up, make it nice and smooth. so my pipe doesn't wear out instantly. I need a little bit of spacer between the bracket and the handle, and so I ingeniously stuck a piece of the hose on there. So here I am cutting that piece of hose off. Boop, and that's my spacer, and that will fit through there perfectly. And there it is, all assembled. Basically just push that PVC pipe into the hose, and then ran a screw into it to make sure it didn't slip. And yeah, I added the bracket there. So the bolt on the back there slides into the T-track. It just keeps it from spinning, and I only have to use one bolt to hold it down then. And yeah, getting that bolt lined up is a little bit tricky at start, but for the once or twice a year I put this motor on the Kayak, I don't think that's all that onerous, to be honest with you. And there we go. It's essentially mounted. And now what I'm going to be doing is just reaching down from the side of my seat, and I can grab a hold of that hose like that, and rotate it, and send it forward and backwards. Okay, we got the throttle worked out, and I'm going to save these clips to remount them. And notice that the motor is sticking up a little bit higher than I want, and so I just marked where I thought I could cut that off. Turns out I screwed that up too, because I cut off about 3/4 of an inch, and it would have been much better with more like 3/8 of an inch. But I'm using a chop saw to cut it off because my bandsaw moves too fast, and if I use lubricant on it, then I get a messy buildup of sawdust and oil on the inside of my bandsaw. So I'm just going to use a hacksaw here to clean up the last little bits. And then I will clean that up on the belt sander, round the edges off, give everything a nice smooth edge, and some hand filing to clean that up. And then I'm going to sand it a little bit here, scuff it up pretty good so that I can paint it. Problem with painting aluminum is nothing really sticks to it really well unless you have the ability to powder coat something. And there is a powder coater here in town. It's just I'm not willing to pay for it. So clean it all up with some alcohol, and then spray it with green paint that doesn't match, which is, you know, infuriating. So what I end up doing is misting it with a separate green color, and then a little black, and I think that I got it. And then I actually try it on the Kayak, and I decide, no, it's still not quite right. It needs to be browner in color. So yeah, you guessed it. I then sprayed it with a little bit of brown here, and when I was all done, it looks like a reasonably close match. Then I drilled 4 holes for the clips, and I threaded them so that I could just run some bolts through those clips, and then I can mount my pedal drive in the back when I'm moving the Kayak around. So that's what those holes are for. Unfortunately, I didn't measure them as critically as I should have because they do interfere with the thumb screws when you're putting on the trolling motor. But you can make it work. It's not onerous. It's just not perfect. So I'll give you an overall view of the trolling motor here in a second, how it looks when it's fully mounted, and how the throttle works. But if you like the video, please like and subscribe and share across all your social media platforms, and you know, tell all your friends about the channel. Much appreciated. All right, so that's how that pedal drive clips on the back, and it makes it a lot lighter for hauling it around. And here's the boat motor attached to the transom. I don't know if you can see it, but I put a piece of plastic on the inside so that when you clamp it down, it doesn't scratch the paint. There's the clip that holds the button down so the trolling motor can bounce up, and that's the throttle hose. And if you rotate that, it does in fact rotate your throttle. So that actually worked quite well. I was surprised at how well that worked.
Okay, so the last detail is the rope, and I put this on here so if I'm pedaling a long distance, I can get the boat motor up out of the water. And the easy thing here is it's just hooked onto my box here. I can just reach back, grab this, pull it forward, and hook it to my seat. And that gets the boat motor up out of the water. This definitely conforms to the KISS method. So if you have any questions about any of the stuff that I did, please feel free to hit me up in the comments section. I will be testing this out on the waters probably sometime this summer. And so keep an eye out for that video. And thanks, and have a great day, everyone.